Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series, I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, That Darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading The Way of Kings for the first time. Each episode, we will summarize what we've read and discuss the experience along the way.
This is Storming the Archives, The Way of Kings, and today we discuss Chapter 44.
Chapter 44.
Chapter 44, The Weeping. Kaladin hates the weeping. He dislikes the gloom of constant rain. He sits on the roof, letting the rain fall on him. Soldiers arrived in town to acquire new recruits. Tien approaches and joins him on the roof. He gifts Kaladin a horse he carved during his apprenticeship. Tien struggles at his apprenticeship. Master Rahl believes Tien should spend his time making more practical things like chairs or mannequins. Kaladin is depressed because Lirin had to spend another sphere. Doing so always seems to hurt Lirin. Tien's unabashed optimism never ceases to amaze Kaladin. Hesina joins the two of them on the roof. She reveals to them that when Lirin spends the occasional sphere, he does it to trick Roshone into thinking he's winning. To Kaladin's surprise, Hesina assures Kaladin that when he gets to Kharbranth, he could study anything he wants. He does not have to be a surgeon. He could learn to read, join the Ardentia, or even become a storm warden. He affirms his desire to become a surgeon. Lirin arrives and tells them Roshone has called for a full town meeting. Roshone appears to have let himself go between losing his son and now. Beside Roshone is High Marshal Amaram. Finally, Laurel appears. Hesina realizes she is wearing a bridal prayer. She's going to marry Roshone. Amaram has come to personally recruit for the army. New soldiers are needed because most soldiers have been sent off to the Shattered Plains. After a few people volunteer, they consult a conscription list. Kaladin need not worry because he is a surgeon's apprentice, but to everyone's horror, Tien is named. Amaram has heard of the rivalry in town and claims he wants nothing to do with it, but Roshone insists it is his right to pick Tien for conscription. Amaram promises to make Tien a runner boy for a year or two. Kaladin asks if he can switch places with Tien, but he cannot. To Lirin and Hesina's horror and objection, Kaladin enlists. He promises that in 4 years, he will bring Tien back home safe. Oh, what a chapter.
Oh, I hated that ending as in, like, it made me feel so many things. It made me feel so sad.
Yeah, although I gotta admit, I Volunteer as Tribute has been playing in my mind all week.
Yep, it's based. That's exactly it. It's the same thing, but obviously was not allowed. He was not allowed to be tribute. So they'll both be tribute.
Yeah, so it would seem. But
Mhm.
before we get into things chronologically, or rather as we get into things chronologically,
Mhm.
I got some pretty words before the chapter, did you?
Yes.
The history of man, the expulsion, the loss of the Tranquiline Halls, the desolations, war against the Voidbringers. I can't quite make out that word.
I used AI to do it at some point. And I still don't know how to say it.
Cool. The last desolation, defeat of the Voidbringers. The Recreants, the fall of the Knights Radiant. And the Hierocracy, the failure of Vorinism. So all of those, except for the one I couldn't quite figure out, are all time periods, or events rather, that we are familiar with.
Hmm. Well, yeah, we understand this is kind of like the cycle that they're looking at, the history of man or whatever. It seems like this is supposed to have happened, but the thing is, I'm already thinking of it as a cycle that we need, that there's repeating steps here,
Mm-hmm.
as in like the desolation and stuff. Like if the last desolation and defeat of the Voidbringers comes again, like yeah, it's first, right now it's a history of man, but I'm thinking it's probably a cycle. But that's
Yeah,
just me being wheel of timey, you know.
probably. I mean, history repeats itself
Hmm.
is a mantra. There are also the skulls. There's a double skull up top and one at the bottom for me,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
which makes this feel a bit. I don't want epic, but that's not quite the feel that I'm going for when I say it. Ominous. It's more ominous
Mhm.
in a large scale kind of way, I think.
Yeah. Mhm. And we've also got the blades in the picture as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's
So,
even skulls in the lettering.
yeah.
And the lettering of that A word, right? The last desolation, defeat.
Oh, and it has a crown on it, one of them. Oh man, that is way closer than I looked.
Mhm.
Oh, neat. Two statues on it, one with a sword. The
Mhm.
the one on the bottom also has a sword. Hmm.
Yeah, the skull has a crown on it. And there's lots of skulls in the A, like, there's like a they're using a lot of skulls everywhere. There's skulls in all of the letters.
Yeah.
Why?
It gives me evil
Ominous.
vibes.
Gives me death vibes.
Yeah.
Just death, death, death. So it's like, okay. Yeah, I looked it up with because I couldn't read the lettering, so I used AI and I said, "Read this," basically, and I got the words. I don't have it in my history, so I can't give them now, but
No.
it did pick up that this is from Brandon Zadison, so if I do it again, it might give me some sort of spoiler or whatever, so I'm just leaving it. We'll
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a. It looks kind of like Aharie,
Mhm,
Aharia. We can figure it out from the letters and the ones we do know.
mhm.
Aharia, Ahariatium,
Shin,
Ahariashim.
shin, something, yeah.
Yeah, but the
It's a
fact that
made up
it,
word, so yeah.
yeah, the fact that it's hard for us to figure out, by the way, I think is by design, especially if it's seems to be a word that I don't think we've heard before. So I think
Yeah.
we are supposed to have this moment of us looking at thinking, what does that say?
Mhm. 'Cause it's been and also that is the main why is that one different? 'Cause there's the oh, I suppose there's 2 "thes," so that's why they're designed that way, but this middle the A word is very it's central.
Hmm.
Do you see what I mean? And it's the last desolation, defeat of the Voidbringers. I suppose if that came into question, what happens to the history?
Right. Especially considering we know from the one of the preludes that this may not have been the defeat of the Voidbringers that everyone
Mhm.
thinks it is.
We've got the fall of the Knights Radiant, we've spoken about that. What is the failure of Voronism? Voronism.
I think that was when the Ardentia
Oh,
became evil for a time because of prophecy.
yes. Okay. All right.
So then we get Kaladin not enjoying the gloom of the weeping.
Yes, and it's almost as if there's because there's no high storms, there's no energy. Hmm.
Yeah, he's so connected to the high storms, or at least he has that potential at this point.
Mhm.
That's an excellent, excellent connection you've made there, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, he said it was where is it? These days were dreary, and he found it difficult to get anything productive done, as if the lack of storms left him without strength.
Hmm.
That's a little nod.
Oh, does that mean that the closer to the Everstorm we get, the more powerful he'll become?
Let's go. Why not? That's why I'm like he should have been supercharged by the storm.
Yeah. And also, like, if you're not getting any sunlight,
Yeah, no, that
you're gonna be
yeah.
depressed. Sunlight's important.
A whole month of rain. I guess the people in the UK are like, What's the big deal?" But, but for them, that is a yeah, and especially for him, he's prone to melancholy. He's prone to melancholy, so you might have a bit of a seasonal thing, and also the weeping, very interesting. The weeping seems to be the only thing of weather that actually is, I would say, is kind of seasonal. They say, oh, the seasons are changing, they change all the time, whatever, but the weeping happens once a year.
Hmm.
That's it. So I don't know, it seems like it's very different to normal weather. there's also reference later on to rain spren mostly only occurring during this. So it's this phenomenon of the weeping is a grand secret. I think we will unfold a mystery. We'll unfold in the movie in the series.
Yeah. I feel like there's a science to the weather patterns of this world. I feel like it's connected
Hmm.
to the high storms and the ever storms, and
Hmm.
we're being drip fed that information, I think.
Yep, like all information, we're having it drip fed.
Fairly early on as we're getting through this, I immediately go to how did Rashon take the loss of his son?
Yeah. You're waiting for that, yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
the last time we spoke about because we had the chapter about him losing his son, we said, "Okay, this is gonna lead to how we lose Tien." So, that obviously has occurred.
Yeah.
We we just didn't I don't we obviously didn't come all the way to the conclusion, oh, that he gets put in the army and whatever, because we didn't know the laws. But this is how he dealt with it. He's dealing with it. He didn't give up. He let himself go. I mean, cool. Not that he was, the perfect specimen before, but he's let himself go. But he has not forgotten.
Yeah.
He's still is making sure that he can do a whole revenge. He do a revenge. I don't know. I need caffeine or something. This is tough.
Now, I do want to jump, I guess, a bit to the end of this chapter quickly to ask Kaladin didn't have to worry about being conscripted, and the reason given was that he is second non and surgeon's apprentice.
Hmm.
But Tien was able to be conscripted, but he was also second non. So doesn't that grant him? Is it that? I guess that does not grant him any additional protection here. It
Yeah,
seemed
on its
like,
own.
yeah. So that confused
'Cause
me just a little bit. My first read
mhm.
through it. Like,
maybe
why
maybe the
wouldn't being
non
second non help?
yeah, maybe the non thing is that it's not it's an unspoken sort of a social norm that, yeah, you probably wouldn't get conscripted because of the non, right? We just
Sure,
kind
send
of
the
we
pores to
let
die.
yeah, yes, exactly. We'll send that, but then the actual thing that protects Kaladin is he's an essential worker, essentially.
Hmm.
So he's not there is a law, a literally written law that's it. You don't have to do it. And Tien, I suppose, yeah, that's my head canon to get around that, is that, oh well, they could do it. And also because maybe there's something about how many sons a person has. You can take if you've got a certain non, it's okay, but we will take one son from you, not all of your sons. There you go. Like that, we don't know exactly the law
Yeah,
explanation there. Yeah.
yeah. And I get the sense that everyone in town likes Tien. Like Tien's the town
Mhm.
mascot or something. Did you get that?
Not that he's the town mascot, but that he everybody knows he's a gentle soul,
Yeah,
and
that's a better way to put
it
it.
just does not yeah, it just does not work for him to go to battle. I don't think that, like, there is this that they all just, mascot seems a bit like too much that they love him,
Yeah,
but it's more like they just know he's gentle.
yeah. Did you get the sense that Tien has ADHD this chapter from the woodworking stuff?
I suppose. So yeah, you can put that name on it, but yeah, because he gets distracted and things like that. But it's also just he's a creative kid, so he's
Mm.
But yeah, it does definitely match ADHD because it's like, well, he's not interested in stuff. So we when he gets hyper focused, he makes really amazing things. But when he's not interested in it, he's always off doing something else. So yeah, I get it. It makes him more endearing at this point.
I think so.
It reminds me of a little clubs
Oh.
because Cause he's carving and things, so I'm like, "Oh, well, maybe Clubs was like this as he wasn't Mr. Grumpy." Something happened to Clubs. I'm just put the connection there. It's silly. But so he's really, really good at carving. He's an artistic boy.
Yeah,
But it
but
sounds like Yeah.
but he likes to make toys and things like that
Pret
rather than the
yeah,
practical
pretty things.
stuff.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, like, when I read that, I was like, "Okay," because he said, "No, tomorrow I'll make him a chair that will make him proud of me," or whatever. So, like, I was like, "Oh, that was just." I'm getting the feeling that Kaladin gets when he's talking about his brother. That, like, there's just
Mm,
he is like a ray of sunshine. So you're just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make a good chair tomorrow," and I'm just like, maybe make it pretty. Okay, so you can make the chair, but then you can carve the chair. And I'm like thinking of all those things, just indulging a little bit in a bit of a fancy about Tien, what he could do and what he could be, instead of I know this is the chapter.
right. I would also say this is one of the, I think, first chapters where we actually get to sit down and know Tien. I think this is the most we've heard
Mm,
him speak and express things other than, I like this rock. Play with
yeah,
me.
exactly. Yeah, and I mean he is older as well, so we get
Yeah.
more of him. It's yeah. But I don't feel like it's too repetitive or whatever when
Th-
we have Kaladin experiencing his brother as this ray of sunshine.
I
It's we
agree.
it's deeper. It's a deeper experience.
Yeah. Hesina joins them.
Mhm. As
And
well, so yeah.
yes. And that's like triply sweet.
Mhm.
It
All in
it
the rain, them just standing there, life getting soaked.
yeah. It really is sweet. I don't mean too sweet. I don't mean too sugary sweet.
Mhm.
It's genuinely wholesome.
It is wholesome, and but my favorite part is also that the little irritation that Kaladin gets that his mom is not actually yelling at them or telling them to get inside. His mom joins him. So, like, that little bit is just yeah, it makes it she's so endearing to me as well because of that. And it's just like, yeah, all of
Mhm.
them are really strange people. They're very unique.
Yes.
So it really, you know what, no matter what situation they got themselves in now, they were always going to be weird.
Yeah.
That's it. They're just weird, and I love it.
Yeah. So part of what has Kaladin depressed is that Lirin spent a sphere.
Mhm.
I really, really liked the passage where Kaladin notes that every time Lirin spends a sphere, and he has had to from time to time, it seems to have this very physical effect on Lirin, a very defeated effect. And I
Mhm.
thought that was powerfully written.
And we see it as well. We see
Yes.
it at the end of the chapter when he does see his father.
Yes.
Mhm.
The a- as Hesina, Tien, and Kaladin discuss this, first off, he comes to the realization that it is a ploy again to make Rashon think he's winning.
With his mom's help. His mom helps him frame it that way.
Yes. And therein sort of lies my criticism of the chapter. I felt like I'm fine with Kaladin not connecting the he's spending the spheres to trick Rashon idea. I'm fine with that him realizing that in this chapter, but I felt like it was a little too revelatory considering he already knew that this is something that Lirin does, tries to trick Rashon into thinking he's winning. I feel like Kaladin could have approached it from a more of an oh yeah, that does make sense, doesn't it? Kind of a
Mhm.
place. Did you get that at all? Like it felt to me like he was considering this that this is something Lirin would do for the very first time rather than the second.
I just didn't get that feeling. I was just like it's like, "Oh," I just I and there was surprise, but there was also a little bit of doubt. I just felt there was a little bit of doubt, like how much of this is a ruse, because it does seem like he does seem quite beaten down.
Yeah,
The fact that
I agree.
he has to embark on this ruse, he has to do this, that is already a defeat. So I think I just engaged more with that part of the revelation than surprise from him.
Right. I did like oh, we're winning. We aren't losing, we're winning part of the
Mm.
revelation. That was neat.
Mhm. Yeah. But then he sees his father again, and he's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know."
Yeah. And then Hesina says, by the way, you don't have to be a doctor. You could do a storm warden. And here
Mhm.
we learn more about storm wardens, which was neat. And she also tries convincing him to do the feminine stuff like reading, which shocks Kaladin, which I thought was humorous.
Yeah, I loved that because, she's just it's part of how quirky she is. He's like, "Oh, yeah,
Hmm.
my mom is just weird." That she would expect me to read. Ugh. And I'm like, "Yes, yes, break down that expectation."
Yes.
I loved it. The fact that and well, I loved it. I was laughing to myself because it's like, "You'll be a man," Tien says, "You'll be a man of learning, and you could ha your everybody will read to you. You'll have your own clerks or whatever to read to you." I'm like, "Yes, that's what learning is about, being read to." Like, not reading yourself. It's so strange.
Yeah. And then I think they think at one point that storm wardens kind of come close to prophecy, right? Because it's
Yeah.
trying to tell the future. Yeah. So that was noteworthy
Yeah,
to me.
they're trying to forecast. So,
Yeah.
it's too close to prophecy.
And then Lirin comes up and he's like, what on earth are you three doing up there?
I loved that passage where it's like just the oh, sorry. Just
Feasting
the
on irregularity, dear.
yes, yes, that whole quirk that she and then she's like, "Oh, the where she we went point." So that whole exchange. Where is it? Yeah. What what in there? All three of you, what are you doing up there feasting? On what? On irregularity, dear. And then he's like, "Dear, you can be very odd, you know." And didn't I just say that? Point. Well, come on. I love that so much.
Yeah,
Uh, just that the dynamic between the two of them is just it's lovely, and you need those kinds of notes because something terrible is about to happen to them.
very much so. Yeah. So Lirin says that Rashon has called for a meeting, and they go to the meeting, and Rashon is fat now, or fatter,
Mhm.
and more unkempt. And Hesina realizes, oh, Laurel is wearing a bridal prayer. She's gonna marry Rashon.
Oh, wait, speaking of prayers. Sorry. I there was something. Sorry, because 'cause you're talking about it being on a sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
He Kaladin has something there as well. He also has a prayer on his sleeve, which can be burnt when he needs help at some point. Where is it? He reached by reflex for the prayer sewn to his left sleeve, waiting for the day he'd need to burn it for aid.
Mm.
They seek to predict the future. So, yeah, I don't know what the prayer says, but that's what is written there. And that was when we were talking about storm wardens. So you're
Cool.
correct.
Yay.
And I wanted to note that though, because what is this prayer waiting for the day he needed to burn it for aid? Yeah, I just want us to note that he had a prayer as well, and that's what people do. They put prayers on their sleeves.
I
And
like
remember,
that.
we have already had the idea from Kaladin. It was like, no, you have to burn prayers for them to be heard. And already had that question, I think, in the current day, where it's like, why do I have to burn things for this almighty God so that the God knows about my prayer? That's weird.
Right.
Yeah.
Also noteworthy that Kaladin says to his mom, yeah, I'm gonna be a doctor. I've decided.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
yay.
we still have. Yeah.
Anyway,
So going back to Laurel's prayer, she's got that. Initially, I was like, "Oh, is she gonna marry Amaram because he's here? That's what's happening and that's what's being announced." But yeah, obviously that was revealed to be wrong.
yeah, I considered that briefly, but brushed it away fairly quickly because Amaram seems a bit too high on the totem pole for backwater Laurel.
Yeah, true.
But I read that and I was like, ooh, Kaladin's not gonna like that. And then a small part of me thought, yeah, serves you right, Laurel, for being so rude to Kaladin. Then I felt bad for thinking that.
Yeah, just like, yeah, he has a really horrible marriage because you were mean to
I did feel bad
yeah, that
about
serves
thinking
you
that,
right.
I swear.
Uh, at least, yeah. But also, Kaladin describes her as gorgeous,
Yes.
and seeing her makes his heart pound. And he didn't realize the prayer because he was too busy looking at how pretty she looks,
Yep. That
I
that
suppose.
story's not gonna have a happy ending
Yeah.
for any three of
But he
them.
but he wanted to stop the marriage for Laurel. It's like, him? How can you marry him? Oh, how could she marry him? Yeah, poor her. But
Yeah,
the way it is.
apparently. So, since we did finally get to Amaram, what did you think of him? What did you think of his speech?
He's actually a little bit different because he addresses them. Seems to be a good guy, ish. He's yeah. The fact the way that he addressed them was like, "Thank you for welcoming me." As that was a weird thing for him to do. Well, thank you for hosting me. It's like, we're not hosting you. The Lighthouse are hosting you. This you just go wherever you like.
Mhm.
So there was that, and we did know the army was around. So I did think, okay, this is going to be. I was thinking by this point it's going to be conscription. It
Same.
was either announcing the marriage, but then I was like, why would we need the whole town there in the rain with him? So yeah.
I got lots of opinions on Amaram. The consolation to Lirin at the end of "I'll make Tien a runner boy for 1 or 2 years."
Yes.
The term to serve, I think it mentioned, is 4 years, so that's not a small amount.
Hmm.
Tien is small; he wouldn't make a great soldier anyway. But
Yeah.
that had me thinking, okay, maybe Amaram actually isn't that bad of a guy. But
Mm-mm.
his speech struck me a bit more in the realm of my situation probably isn't that great right now, soldier wise. Like, I might be in a
Mm-hmm.
bit of trouble against my surrounding opponents, be they political or other.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it struck me a bit as I'm going to play the PR game right now. So there was a certain lack of genuineness to him
Mm-hmm.
doing this. He does it well. He,
Mm-hmm.
in my from what I gathered from it, can fake it well. And I'm not saying that I think he is bad, but I don't think necessarily that he is wholly good either.
Yeah, he's just doing what suits him at the
Hmm.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun to have the conversations with him referring to everyone as Darkborn and Dark Woman and Dark this and that. And I was like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
So it gives the same thing of like the Lord saying, yes, peasant, da 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 da. Like which helps us balance out this that he's not that different actually. He still refers to people the way socially they're ranked. He's not that different. So I'm with you on that. That he's not wholly bad, but yeah, he's playing the game.
Yeah. So then we go through the conscription. We get the Tien is conscripted. We get Rashon just being a vile
Ugh.
person who is reveling in this. And we get a good moment from Amaram of, I don't want to be involved in your petty squabbles thing. So it looks for a moment like he's about to say, you have to pick someone else. But apparently, Rashon does have the legal right to make the pick
Hmm.
and insists upon it. Then we get the "I volunteer as tribute" moment with Kaladin being like, hey, can I replace him? No? Okay, then I'm volunteering and I will protect him. And
Hmm.
his parents are devastated, and it was visceral. It was like worst possible thing.
Mm.
They feel as if they've lost both their sons. And Lirin in particular takes it really hard. I
Yeah.
look, obviously we have post knowledge that Tien isn't gonna make it. We don't know the circumstances. We don't know if it's army involved or not. For all we know, he could have slipped and fell on a spike or something,
Mm-hmm.
fetching water or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the case, but I wonder if I think Kaladin's making a reasonably good decision here, the good brother decision. I would
Yeah.
hope
It's
that his
yeah.
parents appreciate the seeming necessity.
Yeah, at the moment it's losing both of them, so they're not appreciating anything. They
Yeah,
but and because it's like, oh well, I stole the spheres for him for Kaladin and everything. Now I'm losing Kaladin as well. And it's like, yeah, well, Kaladin will not go on living knowing he abandoned his brother. That's just not a
yeah,
thing for
yeah.
him, and it's absolutely necessary. There was actually a moment where in the conscription where they were volunteering. Sorry, it wasn't conscription yet. It was when they were
Hmm.
having people volunteer. There was a moment where he felt like he was going to move, but that was quite a tense moment as well. Just in the
Yeah,
prose of like, is he going to move forward? Isn't he? And then he looked at his dad, and his dad was worried, and then he reassured him that didn't do
yeah.
anything. So
That was a great moment.
that whole moment happened, but obviously he's screw everything else. I'm gonna look after my brother. That's the whole plan. The
Mhm.
plan is to just be with him for those 4 years. Fine, we'll do it.
Yeah,
And I can understand why Liren is upset and all of that because it's like, well, all of this was for you, Kaladin, but it's like, sorry, the son that you raised cannot leave his brother. That's
yeah,
just impossible. So I also agree it's the only choice you could have made.
yeah. And I'll be very, very interested to see how Liren will react because it is so transparent. I mean, they can't do the conscientious objector thing, I
Mhm.
suppose. Tien didn't ask for this, he was conscripted. This is against his will.
Mhm.
Kaladin did not sign up to kill. He signed up to be there for Tien and to protect
Yeah.
Tien. And there's no reason why, I don't understand why Kaladin can't be a medic. I don't know if medics have to fight or not. I want to see Liren calm down for a little bit and then see if he attempts to rationalize or if he thinks of his sons as killers now.
Do we think do we get that flashback
I don't
now?
know.
Around now? I don't know. I think we might only get that much later on. Because I don't see I think this big promise, leaving with this big promise of I'll bring him back. I feel like the next flashback will probably be when we lose him.
I see. I think there'll be a few more steps between them.
Mm.
I'll make a prediction. I predict we're gonna get Tien's death sometime closer to the end of the book. I think we're gonna get boot camp before that.
Mhm. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't. I want more Tien and what is so brilliant about this as well is that Tien doesn't make it, right? But it's still and it hurts to read that I will bring them back. I will bring him back. I'll bring it back. I'll bring him back. I promise. And that that's not going to happen. But what I'm saying, I don't know. It was just a great emotion to know that he's not coming back, but you see this promise occur.
Hmm.
The dramatic irony of it is really skillful. It's beautiful. I think
Yeah.
just the way it tugs on your emotions in all different ways because you want you. This is how it could have been. This is what they could have done.
Yep.
Mm,
Excellent chapter. Very
excellent.
sad.
Hmm.
Anything else to say?
Like the video.
If you like. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to that darn Kita if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel. Join the Discord as well if you like. I post memes. And we'll see you next time. Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye.